Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very first episode of the Secret Filmmakers Society Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about everything filmmaking, digital media, content creation, anything to do with creating video and navigating this creative world.
Just being creative.
Very, very creative.
But yo, why does it have to be a secret, bro? Like, why is everything...
It's not really a secret. At the end of the day, it's very inclusive. We are exclusive, but it's very inclusive. So you guys are all part of the secret society that we speak a certain language and we understand certain things when it comes to video. So let me tell you who's here. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Tubbs, aka Customatic. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, everything at Customatic, filmmaker, digital creative, creating video for the last X amount of years, working with many different companies, brands, people, all sorts of things. And here, as my co-host, we have...
it's your boy Jay Wills, filmmaker as well, a guy with a camera. That's what I like to say. But, just been doing the same thing, creating for brands, music artist, just really in the city of Toronto and LA.
Yes. So we are based out of Toronto. So you guys can find us there. If you come run around the 6, we don't call it the 6 though. We just call it Toronto. We're going to dive into this podcast. This is going to teach you guys how to navigate this world. We're going to discuss things, rant, and really dive deep into our experiences with video and film, as well as just discussing things that we see from afar and what we think about it, and just our input, whether it be good, bad, or neutral. So the first thing we want to get into is, Wills, how do you pull inspiration for your videos?
It's actually crazy. I don't really pull inspiration so much to say cool, I'm doing a video, let me go, pull some inspiration. More times when I'm doing stuff, not even when I'm doing stuff, my ritual, I wake up and a lot of people, their first thing they do is scroll through Instagram and stuff like that. Sometimes if I have a notification, I might open it, but I love Vimeo, man. I just jump up, wake up, go on Vimeo, scroll through, find some inspiration. Sometimes I share it with my friends, let them know what's going on, what I'm seeing.
Like this morning?
This morning, man. This morning I got up and I was watching a few short clips and it's they're all within a minute, 2 minutes, and it's these things are crazy, new effects, transitions, and it's I want to create some shit like that one day. It's I love working with brands, and it's how can I take certain things that I see in films and other commercials and these little effects and throw it in there and make this stuff look crazy. What do you look for?
For me, pulling inspiration, I'd say it comes from music and just real world things. At the end of the day, with music, it doesn't have to be about music videos or anything like that. It's just music makes me feel a certain way that pushes me to want to create a certain visual for it. So, example, if I'm listening to let's say Outkast, Sorry Miss Jackson, that brings me back to automatically grade 6, right? So music brings me back to a certain time or a certain period, and I always want to create, again, movies, visuals, stories. Using music, I feel is what really pulls me into a certain headspace to create, as well as just taking a walk and just observing the world. Sounds kind of weird, kind of creepy, just watching people, but I think watching people, it gives you that perception of what's going on, and you can actually take that in and just channel it yourself and kind of turn it into your own type of inspiration.
What's crazy? On the note to music, I don't know, it paints a picture for me. It really does. I like listening to things that have a lot of noise or ambient noises, sounds that really make you feel a certain way. Right now I'm listening to Sonder a lot because it really paints a picture for me. It sets the mood. It makes me feel I can really make a movie off of this, and it's I just one day want to make a movie, So it's I really dive into a lot of different music and get those little sounds. It's all right, cool, this makes me feel this way, this paints this color, stuff like that. And it's really weird to say that because some people don't see things like that, but that's really what it is. It's as a creative or as a visual creative, whatever you want to however you want to twist it and say it, it's music really does put images in your head and Definitely. It makes you feel a certain way.
Definitely. I would say music pushes so many things at the end of the day. It's it is the inspiration for a lot of things in this world. But even turning off of that point with inspiration, I kind of have a story. What's the difference between inspiration and blatant copying? And the reason why I have a story with Sam Colder. So Sam Colder is from Toronto. Shout out Sam Colder. He's a filmmaker out here, but traveling the world. And he has a pretty dope picture. He's a filmmaker, but he has a lot of dope photography on his Instagram. And what happened was he had this picture where he's in front of some aquarium in maybe Dubai. And the picture's dope. He's jumping in front of the aquarium. The picture looks cool. And someone else did the exact same, like not meaning like a different place and their own spin on it, but the exact same photo, exact same place, the exact same jump, almost the exact same place with like the fish were in.
But let me ask you a question. Did it look like the exact same picture?
It looked like the exact same
You know what's really
picture.
crazy about that? Like, they say no two photographers will take the same picture. I kind of disagree with that shit because I've never been to a photo walk. Actually, no, I've been to one, but like I don't go to those because it's like, yo, one person's posing with a smoke bomb, smoke grenade. I don't know what the fuck those things are. But it's like, yo, so one person's posing with that, and there's like 5 people, like or not 5 people, but it's like 50 people, whatever, all pointing their cameras. Like at least 20 people have the same focal length. At least like out of those 20 people, at least 5 of them are gonna have the exact same settings, and then they're gonna go home. And because like there's so many people that look to, like, I would say only a handful of photographers, and they're like, yo, I like the way they edit. So when you're done with that, out of that group of 50 people, like I said, when you narrow it all down, you're gonna end up having the same photo as like 3 people out of that group. Exact same tones, exact same, like everything's almost exactly the same. But it's like, I think people with cameras might end up with the same photos if, like, you know, you put them in the same room or whatnot. But it's like, if you put 2 creatives in the same room, 2 like real creatives in the same room, like you and I, if you put us in the same room, give us the same model, we're not going to look at it the same way. We're not going to take the picture the exact same way. We're not going to, like, you know, even if it's lit the exact same way, we're not going to be like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I like this pose. And you're like, oh, I like that pose too. And it's like, we'll both take the picture. But at the end of it, it's like, oh, you see my photo, you see Josh's photo. And it's like, oh, these are 2 different photos. But it's like, and then you will be able to tell, like, oh, Josh took this, Jay took this.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
Cool. It's dope. But it's like, yo, man, you got to stop. People these days, I think it's the accessibility that allows them to do things like this. Like, Instagram is here. All of our phones have like 12 megapixels. So it's like, that's all you really need. So,
That's true.
You know, people are just copying each other.
That's true. And what the thing is, like, also with inspiration, I think people need to take that into account, where it's, I'm taking an idea from what someone did and like putting it my own spin on it. Like the guy who did that and copied the other guy's photo, it was like, supposedly too, he got paid for it. So that's kind of like you're doing it now for a job and you're just copying someone else's work. So it's like, at that point, it's like, take what someone's done and put your own spin on it in a way, or take from a bunch of different people and then mold it into something new, rather than just looking at something someone does that maybe inspires you.
It's crazy. Like, nothing new under the sun. I know that's what they say. It's like,
exactly.
use your reference points, but yeah,
you're not going to recreate the wheel. It's already been done. You know what I mean? But do something a little different. So that, it kind of gets like shifty there. That line gets blurred where it's like, hey, am I inspiring you, or are you just copying exactly what I'm doing? And it's like, I seen someone else do this with another person, and I even had to say, like, hold up, because I knew the type of stuff that the other person created, and then I'm seeing theirs, and I was like, whoa, this is the exact same. Like, I understand if you're inspired, but please don't rip people off, because it's like, that part is, I know they say good artists copy, great artists steal, but it's not cool.
So if you love something so much, what do you think about collaborating with that person? I know sometimes it's really hard to like reach out to people, but like, I feel like collaborating is like something that people need to look into instead of just like copying stuff. It's like, if you have an opportunity and you want to like work on something, and it's like, yeah, there's inspiration coming from like other people, and like, instead of copying, and like, you might want to learn, like, you know, posing people, like stuff like that, instead of instead of copying, just like try to collaborate, try to like reach out to people. It's like, yo, Josh, I like your work. You know, I like the way, like, you know, you position your subjects. How can I, like, you know, how can we work together? Like, figure out what I have to offer, figure out what you have to offer, and it's like collaborate, like figure out something, like work together, and like come up with new products instead of copying. Copying is so whack.
You know what I mean? And the thing with the collaboration as well, that part is like, I don't know, it's great, and I think a collaboration is something everyone should do at certain points. But then there's also that point where it's like, who does what and where people's strengths lie. You know what I mean? Like, if it's working with someone, like, let's say you have no idea who they are. Like, we've worked together so many times, we know exactly we can do either the same thing or we do different things. We know where to like. It's different with us because it's like on another level of like psychic shit. But when it comes to other people collaborating together, sometimes it's like, do you know where your strength lies and where that person's strengths lie and why you guys are collaborating before you just kind of like just do something? Again, you can just do something and it can come out great, but if you strategically kind of think about it before you do it.
What's really interesting about that? It's like even when you don't know somebody, you know what you have to offer, and you know that you approach that person because they have something to offer, and it might even just cue down to like, okay, cool, I want to do something. I want to go shoot in places that I've never shot. I want to learn lighting, and like this person, it seems like their shots are always lit properly, so they will guide me in the right direction. Yeah. So it's like if they're gonna guide me in the right direction to get like, you know, better locations, better lighting, it's like I might be better at posing my subject. It's like, yeah, like their pictures are dope because of the lighting and location, but it's like their subject's always kind of weak. It's like, all right, cool. Like, it's like, you know, you need to kind of analyze because everyone has something to offer at the end of the day, but it's like you really need to know what that person has to offer you. And it's like, yeah, if they don't have anything to offer, that's where it can kind of like turn into something where,
where does that go?
I feel like that can go into a direction where like you can take like a mentorship type of role, like, and there's no age limit to like, you know, a mentor. Like your mentor can be someone that's 14 that just, you know, knows a lot. And you can be like 30 and it's like you're getting into it. Like I'm young. I don't consider myself in any position to be a mentor, but like I've been asked and I've been told like, yo, I look up to you, and it's like, oh, that's amazing. Like, and that's a great feeling, but it's like I don't feel like I'm in any real position to be like, yeah, I'm someone's mentor or like, you know, whatever it is. But I feel like
you personally don't?
Me personally, like I don't think I could be a mentor.
Really?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've reached where I wanted to go in life yet, but at the same time, if someone from high school that doesn't really know what they want to do comes up to me and they're like, yo, like, can you tell me about your experiences? I feel like being a mentor can be as simple as just talking to people about your experiences and like guiding them through things, but I really don't feel like I'm at like that position where I can like constantly give somebody advice. I might be able to sit down and talk to you once and be like, yeah, hey, like I did this, don't do this, don't do this, stay in school, kids, stay in school. Like, I'm anti-school, by the way, but yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm in that position.
See, that's weird to me because personally, because I know you and I've known what you've done already, and I know how talented you are. It's weird that you say that you don't think you can, because like, one, if I were to see you talk or mentor somebody and just like talk to them once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, you have enough actually like knowledge and experience that they can, just based off what you tell them, they can go really, really far. And like, that's how I see mentorship as, right? Like they're giving you advice that like plants the seeds or the path to get to where you need to go. And it's funny that you say you don't think you are, because I would say, yeah, you can definitely mentor somebody, especially if someone is like, are you talking about from ground zero or are you talking about from someone?
It's really
like
weird
mid-career?
because I've actually had a conversation with a few people at a round table for creator class. Shout out to them for inviting me, and it was just interesting. It's like just my mind was wrapped around like a lot of different things that were being said, and it's interesting because any person in any room can be a mentor to someone, and I don't think it boils down to experience necessarily or who you know, what you know type thing. It's just like a mentor can simply be somebody that guides you through like whatever it is you're going through and like helping you. And we've been like told, and like it's just a system. Like everything that we think is all like the system and our perception of certain things, and it's like we need to kind of knock ourselves out of that mental space where we're only doing what we're told and thinking what we're told. A mentor, and I feel like I'm not in a place to be a mentor, but like I'm definitely in a place. Anybody's in that place to be a mentor. You could be a mentor, like, you know, the next person beside me could be a mentor. Anyone that I work with, I personally look to as a mentor because I learn things from you. I learn things from the next person. They learn something from me. So it's like there's always that relationship between two people that are working together where you're learning something. I feel like a mentorship is like where you're learning. A lot of people's like, oh yeah, you know, a mentor is someone that's gonna get you jobs, or a mentor is someone that like, you know, is so much farther than you like career wise. And it's like I sit back sometimes and I'm like, yo, that doesn't necessarily mean like you're a mentor. It's like, yeah, you're linking me with jobs, but it's like you're not really my mentor. You're just someone
you're
that's
my
like,
agent.
Yeah, it's like, are you my agent? It's like, yeah, it's like those types of vibes. It's like, you know, a mentor is someone that like, I guess you could say makes you feel good about yourself. Someone that like not only you hit them up like, yo, I need advice, I need help. It's someone that like hits you up. It's like, yo, are you good? Like, yo, we're doing this. And it's like, it's really weird, like tying everything back to inspiration, collaboration and stuff like that. It's like my inspiration comes from my friends and people around me, because like I see them working hard, or like even when I see them falling, it's like, yo, bro, like pick it up. You know what I mean? Like those are things. So it's like, even from that, like I have a really close friend of mine, Chad. He's like, yo, you're like a mentor to me, because like you make sure like I'm always like one step ahead, or like if I'm falling behind, you're like, yo, you check me on it. And it's like, yo, like that. When he told me that one time, it's like, yo, bro, that's crazy. And it's like, even from that conversation, it took like my thought about mentorship to another level, where it's like, yo, it's more than just somebody getting you jobs and somebody that's like been in the industry for years. You know what I mean? So that's my take and spin on like all that stuff. But in the dictionary, I think it says something like a mentor is someone that gets you jobs and stuff like that. I don't know.
Oh, like the exact definition of mentor?
Let me check Webster right now.
Yeah.
It might say something like that.
Okay, because with mentorship with me, it's weird, because with me coming up the way I did video, like I really had to teach myself, right? So I think,
hold on, stop, not to cut you off. I think what's crazy about that is like we're in a generation where everyone teaches themselves how to do things, because one, everything's so accessible, and two, it's like there's YouTube. Yeah. We have YouTube to like teach us things, and like cameras aren't that expensive anymore, and because like you can get one camera that can do everything. You know, that's crazy.
That's actually, I have a point on that too. I'll backtrack to that after. But yeah, like you were saying with the mentorship, like it's weird. I have a different like outlook on it, kind of like I believe, like you were saying too, like everyone could be a mentor. You learn from everyone. I totally believe that 100%, because it's like you can learn from any person, anyone that has surpassed you, hasn't, or isn't even in the same lane as you, in the sense of they're not even doing the same thing as you. But it's cool, because I feel like in that definition you're saying, like the definition of mentor, of like someone that is like been doing it way before you and is like overlooking and making sure you don't make the wrong steps that they did. I never felt like I've ever had that, because one, doing video and film was like taught myself at an early age, like let's say 14 I started to really dive deep into it, and it's like at that time there wasn't really that many people doing it as there is now, right? Like really and truly the only like people you know were like Steven Spielberg and like Director X, like when he was like doing it back in the day. Other than that, there was not that many people doing it. And there was like another guy, Sharpshooter, that was like in the city, and a couple other people, but that was it. You know what I mean? So it was like when you kind of move forward, when it came to mentorship, I never really felt like I had the old head telling me what to do. You know what I mean? Or that person that you said like it's surpassed. But again, I do believe wholeheartedly in the sense of like learning from your friends, learning from the people beside you. I learned from you many times. You know what I mean? I learned from this person, that person. Like I take from everybody, where it's like it's a mentorship, like a constant ongoing one. So what does Webster's dictionary define it as?
Webster says a mentor, a trusted counselor or guide, a tutor, a coach. So I mean, it's crazy that that's what it says in the dictionary, and what we think a mentor actually is like something that's like much greater than that is said in a dictionary. We look at a mentor as someone that, you know, we intern for, or like things like that, like all these things that they're really not. And it's like, yo, a mentor, like it says here, it's just like a coach or a guide, and it's like we all guide each other to like, you know, the next step. I too, like, yeah, like coming up into this, it's like I never really had anybody. I'm from Brampton, so it's like, who in Brampton's doing videos? Like, I'm a kid that doesn't really drive much places. I don't know how to take the bus. What am I gonna do? Mom, can you drop me somewhere? It's like, you know, 2014 I got into a remix project, and like that's where I started really realizing, like, you know, the creative community in Toronto, and like how much people are doing it, how much people are out there that you can, you know, talk to. And even like from that, I always told my friends around me, I'm like, yo, anywhere I go and that I get into, it's like, if you need that help, I'm gonna try to bring you around. I'm gonna try to introduce you to these people, so that way we all can get like that help that we need, that guidance, so that we can get to the next level. I never feel like, I'm never greedy with my, like, what I'm learning, the knowledge that I'm getting, and like the people that I know. It's like, if I'm doing something and there's like that opportunity to bring you in, I'm gonna bring you in. And if you get an opportunity off of that, cool. I'm not gonna be sour about it. There's a lot of people out here, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are like looking for mentors and they're not finding it, because a lot of people are sour and a lot of people are trying to hold on to those connections and like those things. Yeah. And it's like, yo,
also like gatekeeper type thing, or just
everyone's like, yo, a lot of people are gatekeepers to like, it's weird, yo. And yo, it's actually so weird, and people are gatekeepers to like things that they shouldn't really be gatekeepers to, because it's like, yo, if you share all of this with somebody, we're never gonna forget you, and we'll always make sure, like, we'll always check for you. Like, that's the way I was raised and the way I think. It's like, yo, like I said, I always like try to bring my people in when I'm doing stuff, or like try to like introduce them to people, because yo, at the end of the day, I might not be good at doing something that they might be better at doing, and it's like, all right, cool, you already know this person, like this person's gonna cover, like they'll do a great job. And it's like, yo, kill it. I'm not gonna sit here and be sour about it, like, I shouldn't have introduced Josh to that guy because now he's doing something for Adidas and I'm stuck at home watching fucking anime or something, It's like, no, I'm not gonna be sour about it, because like I know at the end of the day, when that opportunity comes up where someone's like, that same Adidas company comes to him and says like, yo, here's, it comes back. Like, if they come in, they're like, yo, here's 50 G's to do something, Josh is gonna be like, yo, I'm directing something, like, what role do you want? I'm like, yo, let me DP that. Like, yo, give me the camera. Yo, any camera you get, I'm gonna learn to use it. And that's another thing. It's like, yo, just learn to do things, yo. Sometimes you gotta lie and be like, yo, I know how to use that. Of course, like, why wouldn't I? I'm a filmmaker. I can shoot with anything. Put it in my hand. It's like, yo, literally, you might have to do research on the internet, or if like, cameras are all the same.
They are.
As long as you get it to like the settings and you figure out where those settings are. Some of these menus are confusing. Like red is not the most confusing, but like it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But you get through it after like an hour.
Yeah, that's true. You can go back. There's times I've used cameras. I've used cameras that like I've never used before. I like just Google something real quick and then like you learn how to do it. And
I've honestly never told anybody I can't do something. Like,
well, and like you said before, we live in the information age where it's like, how can you tell someone you can't do anything when it's like,
I'm not crippling myself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they
like,
always
can
say,
you walk? Yeah.
But you can. But they always say like, always say yes. And then, but the thing is, there's one thing about that where it kind of gets kind of tricky is like, when someone, like, it's different. You're super experienced. I'm super experienced. So if we say like, yeah, we know how to do something, but we don't necessarily at that moment know 100%. We know we can figure it out. But what about someone that's like just coming in and they're like, they got some link to a project that's like pretty big deal. And then they say, yeah, I know. And they don't know what the hell they're doing.
We just talked about that. Look for guidance. Yo, but like you said, you know what? It kind of goes back to what you just said. We're like in that information period. We're in that, we're in that era where we can find the information. We all have smartphones. We can literally just like pick up our phone, do some research, and be like, oh, YouTube something. Don't Google it. Just pick up the phone, man. You don't have to have a computer. Just pick up your phone, do some research. As soon as you pop, like I said, an hour early, like if you really don't know what you're doing, 2 hours early, make sure that you can do that. Make sure, like, you let them know, like, you have to set timelines for yourself as well, where it's like, yo, all right, cool, I need to learn how to use this. Like, you don't tell them, hey, I need to learn to use this. Be like, yo, setup is kind of intense. I need like extra time. I know start time is this. Can I be there? Like, if you don't have access to the equipment the night before, which as like, a camera user, you should definitely have access to the equipment the night before. Try to pull up to set early and tell whoever is holding onto the equipment, like, yo, I need to set up. I need to make sure everything's working properly. And like, yo, just, kind of twist it a little bit. Do your research the night before. You know what you're going to use before, like, you go to a shoot. And if you don't, I don't know. You got to ask questions. Asking questions is key. Look for a mentor. Look for guidance.
That's true. Yeah, no, 'cause I was trying to say in the sense of like, when people if like they always say, if you don't know how to do something, say yes and figure it out later. Now, like that's the thing.
Yeah,
But then it's like, what happens if you aren't at that point where you can actually figure it out? You know what I mean? Because like figuring out is one thing, but like not about not figuring it out, but you can't really do it to that level that you're saying you can do it. Pretty much like faking the funk.
You definitely gotta, fake it till you make it.
So like you still think like the person should still do that, or are they doing a disservice and just saying, you know what, this isn't for me?
If this is like the beginning of your career,
that's what I'm saying. Like if someone's doing it and
you will end up outshining it eventually. So yeah, fake it till you make it. I don't know. That's how I feel. True.
I'm just saying in the sense of like doing a disservice to the client. Like if the client's like expecting to pay you 20 G's and expecting 20 G's.
Yo, man, if they're expecting to pay you 20 G's, they're looking at the wrong person.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's how somehow you got caught up in that, but you're not ready.
At that point, that's on the client. Like, yo, fix up, bro. If you're about to spend 20 G's, go find yourself a customatic. Go find yourself a J Wills and let us take care of it. Like, if you have 20 G's at your disposal, you're not gonna go on Instagram and find a kid that like when you scroll through his stuff, it's like, oh, this guy just started. He looks like he can do the job. Yeah. There's the difference between doing the job and like killing it. Like I don't ever doubt myself that I won't be able to kill something. It's like I know I could do the job. Everyone and anybody with a camera or whatever their skill is can do the job, but it's like, what are you actually doing? Like, how far are you gonna take it? Like, another thing that's like really crazy is like when people are like, yeah, like this is my price, and it's like, oh, but this guy's charging this much. It's like, yeah, that guy's charging that much because the lack of experience, and he's not actually a creative.
Yeah. That's one thing that actually pisses me off when people try to, I guess, price match in this field, because you can't. It's not like you're going to Walmart to buy.
Price match, or you're gonna like go to Michael Bay and say like, yo, I only have $500, let me pay you, or like, yo, I'm gonna pay you after when I blow up. It's like, bro, go to Foot Locker and tell them like, yo, can I get these shoes when I blow up? I'll pay you.
Yo, that's kid. Let's talk about that, because that's, I think, like a lot of you like filmmakers and video people that are just starting out or have like are just like navigating. You guys are gonna deal with that a lot when it comes to music videos.
No, not only them, like. I've been doing this for a few years.
Yeah,
I'm still doing it.
There's still people that come to you. I've had someone probably like a couple weeks ago say the exact same thing, and I'm like,
it doesn't. No, it's crazy. You think with age comes like with age and like climbing that ladder, you don't deal with this. It's like, yo, you deal with it just as much. It's like
you still got those people that are bold.
That's why I kind of left the music industry, because they still think $500 is enough to get a Lambo and like a big studio space, and then everyone's good. Like, yo, can I get a red cam? Yo, we're gonna throw a Lambo and like we're gonna have a huge like background. I'm like.
Like they want the world on some next. No, trust me.
Narnia, did you climb through the closet? Like, come out the closet. Come out the closet, buddy. Like, it's crazy.
You're right. Like, it doesn't matter what level you really get to. You still have those people that come and ask and expect like the world with like the lowest budgets in the world. But I really think like, especially when you're beginning, a lot of people are gonna ask you that. Like, if you're just starting out, everyone's gonna like try to like on that. Hey, let's collab, and like I got nothing, or just this little bit.
That's
and then,
crazy.
Like, when I blow.
You know what's funny when. Like going back to collaboration, is like I said, sometimes people don't have something to offer, but it's like that's when it comes to collaborating. Like, say if you and I collaborate, or like, I collaborate with another creative or something. It's like we're creating something together. The funniest is like when a client, quote unquote client, comes to you and says, "Hey, let's collaborate." It's like, what are we collaborating on?
Yeah.
Like, how are you helping me create?
Yeah.
You're just gonna stand there. I'm gonna shoot you. And then you're going to get a product. So we're not collaborating.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have music or whatever it is, but it's like, I don't feel like that's collaborating. I don't know. I might be looking at it wrong. Someone might argue like, yo, bro, like that is collaborating because they're putting the music on the table. But it's like, no, it's like.
It has to be equal trade-off of what's being
it's like, are you helping me shoot? Like, what am I gaining from this?
Exactly. Like if they're paying directly for something, then it's like, okay, I understand. It's a trade-off.
I just checked your YouTube. You get 50 views. We're not collaborating, buddy. You're not doing me a service.
It's not going to be getting me.
What have I gained?
That one thing where people are like about, and that's even going into another topic where it's talking about exposure, which is like, we always hear people like, I can't pay my bills with exposure. I can't do this with exposure. But exposure is necessary in certain aspects.
You know what? I can't pay my bills with exposure. You want to know why I say that? Cause
you say you can or you can't?
I can. Are you dumb? Yo, come on,
I know what you're gonna say. I think I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, so now here's the thing. I'm not literally gonna go to Rogers and be like, hey, guy, I got 50K followers. Like, yo, here's 500 of my followers. My bill's paid. You know what I mean? But like, if if I do a video for someone that's associated or has like, you know, the right eyes watching, I don't care. Like here's another thing. Like, yeah, going back to what I just said about like the 50 views and things.
Yeah.
Now it's like, say if you get 50 of the right views, that leads to, you know, a potential like client. Like say if I shoot something for somebody that has, they might have like how much ever followers or whatever it is. They might not be popping, but it's like certain brands and certain like
they have eyes on them,
and stuff. Like, yeah, they have eyes on them. It's like, yo, I've been to shows before where it's not popping. There's like 30 people in the room, but there's 5 of the right people in the room. And those 5 people
that's actually a big thing.
Are seeing me walking around with a camera. And then it's like, I recognize that there are people that are doing something or they're at like whatever level they're at. And I'm like, yo, let me hold a conversation with this person.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I went and I did that cheap job and I'm there. Yeah. I had that conversation. So like, yo, the exposure paid my bills. Cause that guy I just spoke to just gave me 5 G's to shoot. Yeah. I don't know. Me cutting paper. Yeah. Me coloring a coloring book.
But also too is like, that's also knowing how to leverage an opportunity. Cause it's like, there are times when it's like, sure, if you do something for exposure, but you gotta know how to leverage the opportunity. Like you can't look at that. A lot of people will look at that opportunity and be like, this has to directly get me something. So if they don't see the views or they don't see that like, someone came to them and said, hey, I saw that video, now I want to work with you, they don't think that it got them anything. But you got to know how to like go out there and kind of grind yourself and be like, hey, take what you did for exposure and then leverage it off to get something better. You know what I mean?
Get I know I'm about to say this super wrong. I can't remember the exact quote, but like it's with what you're saying, it's something that's been flying around like a lot. It's not like, oh my God, you're not the first person. I know I'm not the first person to say this, but it's like, yo, luck is like preparation.
We got an exclusive here.
We got an exclusive, guys. But yo, I'm about to drop some knowledge, fake deep. Anyways, pretty much it's like, yo, everyone knows, and the saying where it's like luck is preparation meets opportunity, or opportunity meets preparation, whatever. Like I said, I'm not gonna say that.
I never heard that. I need to write that down.
You definitely heard that before, but it's like, yeah, people like come up to me sometimes. They're like, yo, you did stuff for so and so. You're so lucky. It's like, am I lucky, or did I just like work up to that point?
Exactly.
Where it's like, I have something to show. Yeah. And I was presented that opportunity. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, if I wasn't prepared for that situation, if I didn't have the material, then like, am I still lucky? You know what I mean? So it's like, and also it's like with that, it's like, yo, if someone brings you to the door, or if like you're at the door, don't like lightly tap on it. Like kick that shit down.
Yeah, for real.
You know, you're not going to get anywhere just by like being in the back with like your camera, hoping that someone's going to approach you. It's like, you're there, yo, shoot your shot. Either take your pictures.
Shoot your shot 2017.
Shoot your shot. And I mean that literally, like shoot your shot with like your camera. Shoot your shot. Take those pictures, shoot that video, and like just make sure it circulates. Make sure that those people that you're shooting for sees it. What I do a lot, and it's not like a big secret that anybody would be like, oh my God, I never knew you could do that before. But like, yo, shoot for brands and shoot to music and stuff like that for people that are accessible. And when I say that, it's like people within your city first and foremost, because like if you shoot for a brand in your city and that circulates, you know, you hashtag it, you tag them, whatever it is, they're gonna see it. If they like it, and I don't mean like literally like press like on Instagram. If they like what they see, they're gonna hit you up like, yo, I really liked what you did. Like, would you be interested in doing some more work? You know, don't like, even if you're like on set behind the scenes and you're not the main person doing whatever it is, shoot your shot, do what you gotta do, present it, and be like, yo, I know you didn't ask me to do this, but like, you know, I just wanted to like, you know, extend my service and like give you this. Because at the end of the day, you're doing behind the scenes. You want to be there. Yeah. You know, like one thing that I took in, it's like you went to LA and you shot that Complex Con video. Yeah. And like you sent it to me before you put it out, and like I seen it and I'm like, this is dope. And before you sent it to me, I seen what, you know, I'm sorry to say this, I seen what Complex did, and it's like, Complex, if you see this, if you read this, hire my boy Customatic, because like, yo, what you guys put out was garbage, and you guys had people running around with red cams. He has a 6D. Like, come on. Like,
shots fired.
Shots fired, yo.
But it's true.
No,
it's,
actually, shots aren't fired. Camera fired, though.
Yeah.
No. Fire
it's true,
camera,
though,
man.
man, because you know what? And I've seen things like you've done before, too, that I've seen other people be in the same place, and it's, like, not up to par. You know what I mean? So,
Yo, bigger camera doesn't mean better quality. It doesn't
100%.
ultimately mean that. It's like, and that goes two ways. I can argue back and forth with myself about this, where it's like, yeah, when I started off, I had a T3i, and it's like, yo, Wills, why did you upgrade to a 7D? It's like, because like I've outgrown that camera, and like I knew what I needed to like level up.
Yeah.
And then from that, it's like I knew what I need to level up from that. It's like I went to full frame, and it's like, yo, the camera doesn't mean anything. Why don't you just get another lens? It's like, because now I have full frame, I can like hold more detail into like my framing. Like I don't have to like, you know, go across the street to get, you know, your full body. You know, I can like just be there with you, like present.
Yeah.
Talk to you instead of having to yell across the street and like certain things like that. It's like I upgraded again, and after it's like, why did you upgrade? It's like, because like I know what I was lacking, what I needed, and it's like nothing that you get in terms of like technologies can be fully future proof. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Cameras like die out like within, I'd say,
not
like
even cameras,
a year.
everything.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's true.
There's things out there like, yo, you think you're what's the most right now? Your 128 or 64 gig RAM computer is nice.
Nah,
no,
man. Watch 5 years. Well, not even 5 years from now. But just watch time from now.
Man,
think about like, yo, back in the day, not even back
4
in the day.
4 gigs was enough back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. Yo,
like,
I really realized my very first computer was 20 gigs of space.
More than 4 gigs of
my
phone,
bro. Take this in. My first computer was 20 gigs of RAM, of space. Like my full computer. That was my very first computer, and I realized like, yo, 20 gigs is like, I don't know, a USB drive for people. You know what I mean? Like, and a one that you just bring to class, or you bring to like just like to do something and bring it. Like it's crazy how technology goes by so fast. And speaking of that, like technology when it comes to cameras and stuff, yo, I'm seeing, because every day there's something new. Like I was telling you the other day, I want to upgrade my camera, and then you were saying to get the C200.
C200,
yeah, 200. And like that, like it makes sense. It has all the specs and whatnot. But again, I feel like in another 2-3 years, it's gonna be something else that's gonna be,
for sure.
You know what I mean? But it's like, with everything being so accessible now, I guess, with technology, with the equipment and stuff, like, do you think people need to be buying more expensive cameras to set themselves apart, or do they still can use like entry level or
definitely think
mid-level cameras?
You can do with what you got. Don't think that, oh man, I'm gonna go break the bank just to like get a new camera or get new tools, whatever it is. It's like, if you don't have the means to actually do it, make do with what you got. Because yo, it's so crazy to think that like I've seen stuff, people shooting with like their T6i and stuff. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. And at the end of the day, I understand like the main medium right now is like Instagram, Twitter, and stuff like that, but that's not my goal. And what I'm looking for, it's like, when I have the client that's putting up screens inside stores and stuff, it's like I need to make sure like my quality's held up. Yeah.
And as I'm saying, that question is more geared towards, I'd say, the person that's been doing it for a longer time and is taking it serious, not just a entry level or a person that's like occasional, but like the professional that's like,
there's consumer,
really
pro consumer, and professional.
Yeah, that,
you know, figure out where you're at, figure out where you really want to go, figure out what you have in your pocket, aim for that camera that you want to get, but like be realistic with yourself. I had to, like, you know, any filmmaker that's really trying to do this, they're like, yo, I want a Red, I want an Ari. It's like, all right, tone it down, buddy. Can you afford it? I couldn't afford it. I really want one of those cameras. Can I afford it? No. So I don't have one. I went and I got a 5D instead. I'm just like trying to do my thing with that. And it's like, I think when you know what it lacks and where, you know, you're being held back in terms of quality, that's, you know, I think that's like the best thing, knowing what your weaknesses are, so that way you can like build around it and not then do things that doesn't focus on it. Yeah. Recently I bought a monitor just to boost my quality. So it's like, yo, that record is amazing, yo.
I gotta let me use it one time, bro.
Yo, I was gonna bring it today, but yeah, it was like those things. It's like I'm trying to dive deeper into coloring and learning coloring and stuff, and it's like I realized something in like doing a lot of research and like reading up on like, you know, what's the difference and the real reason why this monitor is better. And it's like, why did you just spend another $500 just to like shoot on the monitor? It's like, yeah, because now when I'm coloring, you're not gonna see it, like you're not gonna see those weird lines between like, you know, two different colors or two of the same colors. And it's like, you know, it's just offering like more colors in that picture. and stuff like that. It's like just knowing what you want and what your goals are can really help you like help identify with, you know, the tools that you need and the tools that you don't need. Like there's wants and needs. It's like, yeah, I want a RE, but it's like, yo, I don't need.
Do you need
right
one?
now.
It's like the same thing with the 4K right now. Like I do want
4K.
like a red.
Can you
Do we
play
need
back
4K at the moment? Like
Just
realistically,
to let you know, Instagram plays back standard definition.
that's what I'm saying. How many of you guys right now on YouTube actually go and change your quality settings to 4K to watch a video? Like majority of you guys don't do that. You just watch it.
Who has time for that?
And it's probably at 360, 480 max, 720 or 1080.
I think you can play it. You can quote unquote play back in 1080p when you're on YouTube, depending on your device.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it only plays back 720. It's really weird. Like there's a lot of things that people don't know. And that's because you guys are the consumers. And hopefully the people listening that aren't consumers and creatives, they're like learning something when we say this. But yeah, it's not really playing back at the quality that you're shooting at.
Yeah. You
but
notice
it does
the difference
help
though.
retain
You
detail.
do notice the difference. Like I do notice like a 4K video will look better online, like on YouTube or even on Instagram sometimes.
Yeah,
but then there's times you can't tell the difference.
A lot of times, like when you see the real 4K cameras shooting stuff, or like the like whatever K, like 6K, 4K, 5, like all that stuff, it's, you know, a lot of people don't realize or don't know that it's not so much the resolution only, but it's also the bit rate. And it's like you will definitely see the difference between a 8-bit rate like camera and a 24. Like look how big of a difference in numbers that is already. And it's like you don't know that, you know, within that's like millions of like pixels and like all this shit, and like the depth of color depth, or sorry, not pixels, yeah, it's like a couple million and thousands of
it's a lot.
Colors.
It's a lot.
It's like, yeah, from black to white you have like, you know, whatever, how much ever different shades of gray. But it's like when you shoot 24, it's like you have that much more shades of gray.
Yeah.
So
but that's the thing, because I saw this filmmaker was also talking about how he wants to he's changing his system. He had like a Canon C300 and he's shooting 4K, and he realized like he doesn't really need it at the moment. Like aside from doing client projects that need that, like commercial projects for like whatever, when it comes to majority of his products, he doesn't need to be at 4K. So that's also a big decision for like thinking about my next camera purchase and like what I'm going to do I need it? Or again, just rent it when the project comes. Like if a project comes and a client has...
Save yourself some money. Yeah, just rent it when the project comes.
When the money's there and the client has money for that, I say, cool, I'll rent it out. Bam. But like owning it's going to put you in stress. You're going to be
so cool
breaking your bank. No, it is.
$80,000 camera.
It is. But it is. You can like walk around and be like,
shooting videos that's gonna help you pay off that debt.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's like you can take it and do your own personal projects, and that even goes to like personal and client projects. Having to keep your sanity, like I don't know, like you can attest to this. Having to do client projects, people always think like working with big brands and stuff is like crazy cool, and it is. But it also can be a headache because art is so subjective that everybody thinks they're an artist. In the sense of people that are supposed to just like sign off on the work you're doing will tell you exactly what they want.
Man,
it's like,
if you're hiring me to do my job, let me do my job.
Let me do my job. And that kind of part is where it's like people need to learn to trust the artist, because it's like, hey, I do this every day. I look at the landscape every day. I know what people not even just like, but what people will gravitate towards in the video. So there's a reason why that cut is there, or that song is there, or this is there. And a lot of people, I feel like, don't understand that. And because art's so subjective, they think they got the answers. But you ain't got the answers, Sway. But they think they got the answers.
It's so crazy when you think about it, because like sometimes people are like, I've had people come to me, I love your work. Thanks, man. And then they're like, yeah, I want to do a video like this. It's like, it's cool to have references, but don't tell me, you know, frame for frame exactly what you want to do, because now it's like, all right, just ask your boy to hold up his iPhone and like, you guys can shoot a video.
Like,
be good.
Are you there for me to create, or are you there to just give me an instruction guide and make your IKEA furniture?
I don't like to, like, one of the things is like, especially with like music videos and like rap videos, I don't like when people come to me with like a reference and like certain references. They're like, yo, I want a video where I'm just trapping in the house, and I'm like, okay, cool, but like, what meaning does that have? What's the narrative to that? And they know, and it's like there's no connection to the song and like what you're doing. You're like talking about, you know, being a good guy, and then you're trapping it and whipping it up in the crib, or vice versa. And it's like, it doesn't make sense when you want to do stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, you want to shake your dreads like Chief Keef, but it's like after we're done that scene, you think we're done, and it's like, no, like, all right, let's do the other stuff we need to do. And after they're all like out of steam, and they're like, all right, I'm done. I smoked too much. It's like, I just want to have this scene where I'm smoking, like just chiefing. I want to blow some smoke.
It's just like their inspiration now. They just want to copy it.
So, and it's crazy because like when they do it, they excessively smoke. Like they just do the most. And then after, you're like trying to get the actual scenes that you need to make the video. Yeah. And they're so high, it's just like they're like standing there looking at the camera, and you're like, bro, you gonna start doing what you gotta do, or are we just gonna, be high?
Yeah.
It's just pointless at that point. But it's like, yo, if you hire somebody to do their job, let them do their job. Give us like, your brand's creative direction, and like let us like sort out certain things and fill out the roles, and like, make sure we get that image across. But if you really want to hold hands, then like, find somebody that doesn't want to like take that role of like, being a director, being like, the creative producer, director on like the set of the film or like the campaign. If you really want to do all that stuff yourself, like take that role, do that, but like go find a DP. Don't go find a director or videographer that like really like passionately loves doing all of these things, and like take that away from them, because now you're taking something away from them that they really love doing, and now you're making it a chore.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like I love doing film and like shooting, but it's like as soon as you make it a chore by like really like poking me and saying like, I want it like this, I want it like this, I want it like this, it needs to be like this, it needs to be like that, it's like at that point you're not asking me to do my job, you're just like asking me to hold a camera with
you, because at the same time, it's like when you go and buy any product there is out in the world, you're buying it based off whatever their creation is. You didn't really have input on that, so you're just buying what you're looking at. So at the same time, when it comes to film and video, you hire someone because you love their work. Hey, Wills, I like your work, I want to work with you, I want you to create something, here's my inspiration, what's your interpretation of it, and create it. That's what I want. Not to tell you exactly what to do, because now it's like you're not doing that. Now you're just a tool to create my vision, but my vision might not necessarily be in the way it should be, in the sense of how it should be interpreted through a filmmaker's eyes, not through just a regular civilian.
And tying it all the way back to like what we first started talking about, is it comes down to like inspiration and copying and blatant copying and like all that stuff. It's like, don't look at a video or like something and come to somebody and be like, yo, like this can go two ways, because this can be on the creator as well. But don't come to me and it's like, yo, I want my video to look exactly like this, and show me like a P. Diddy video, and you're like, you want it frame for frame. It's like, one, do you have budget for it? Two, it's like, I'm not gonna do that. Like now you're asking me not to do what I do. You're just asking me to like literally copy frame for frame.
Yeah.
Second note, don't come to me. It's like, yo, if we're doing something and like, you're lowballing or whatever the case is, you need to understand how much work goes into a lot of these things that we're doing. A lot of people think that like, it's cut and paste or shoot and drop. Like, all right, cool, we shoot a video, I plug my camera into the computer, and boom, your video's done. No, it's like, yo, there's a lot of time that goes into like not just editing and stitching things together, but it's like, how do you think your colors look so nice? It's like, because we take time to do that too. Like all those things. It's like, why is my video better than like the next person's video, or so why is their video better than my video? It's like, because they're taking time to like, make those cuts, or they have the experience and they spent the time learning to color. Like there's certain things like I've seen certain things, like I'm really like keen on my cadence with videos, and like I've learned things throughout this year that helped me make my videos better. And it's like, even like the timing of videos, so that when I put it on Instagram, it loops smoothly, and like it doesn't feel like it's ending abruptly. And it's like, yo, you need to really like pay attention to like your tempo and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like you gotta really take in like who you're hiring, and allowing them to create and be themselves when they're creating as well.
Definitely. And I think that's a perfect note to end on, by giving these people the spoken word on what they need to be doing for the next thing. Yeah.
Big deep.
So actually, for a question for you guys is, one, I'd say is, where do you guys draw the line between inspiration and just like blatant copying? And two, what's your guys' thoughts on you giving your input to a filmmaker to create something, or just allowing them to do their work, or totally just controlling the situation and telling them exactly what to do. We want to definitely hear your thoughts on that. But thank you guys for being part of our very first episode of the Secret Filmmakers Society Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. You're here to the end. Again, let us know your feedback with those questions. We'll let you guys know where you can find us online. You can find me, Joshua Tubbs, at customatic, customatic. And you can find Wills at
JAYWILLS.co, jwills.co.
Dope. And then you can catch and see all our work. We do amazing video work. I'm not just saying that. I believe we do, because we do. And people tell us we do. But we've been doing this thing because we do what we do. But yes, thank you guys for being part of this. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, social media, and all that jazz. And we will see you guys later. Peace.